Today we'll be learning about economy and introduction. Economic geography is a major branch of human geography under which the regional variations, characteristics, spatial patterns and interactions of human economic activities are studied on the ground floor. Human communities in different parts of the world, to meet their physical needs, engage in various livelihoods like cutting wood, fishing, farming, collecting food, mining, industry, running businesses, trading, transporting, and doing jobs in various establishments, etc. These economic efforts of humans have influence on the elements of topography, land, texture, soil, climate, vegetation, mineral resources, geographical location, convenience of transportation, etc. The main objective of economic geography is on the human efforts, that is the economic activities, to assess, to access and analyze the environmental impacts. Objectives. In today's class, we will learn about resources, the definition of economy, classification of economy, local organization, spatial organization. No substance or thing can be called a resource unless it has partial or full capacity to meet human needs or to overcome difficulties. A substance or element is considered a resource at the same time it has the ability to provide human needs, achievement or benefit. Therefore, a close relationship between man's capacity and resources has been considered. Therefore, it is clear that we can treat any substance or element as a resource only if man of any country has the intellectual and cultural and material ability to work or gain from that thing or element. The nature of the resource is determined by the intellectual and cultural capacity of man. Humans' physical and intellectual capacity, interest, organization of knowledge, economic progress, political stability, etc. are resources in themselves because all these elements contribute to their need fulfillment and progress. Resources are the basis of both wealth and security and are the foundation of power and wealth. It is a deciding factor in the fate of man in both war and peace. Humans have to depend on their own or others' labor to make food, clothing and shelter to meet the basic needs that can make these things. These objects are either found on the earth's surface or in the earth's surface, or they are prepared for human consumption by removing them or by adding, modifying or finishing them. The word resource is synonymous with the English resource word, which is made up of two words, re and source, whose meanings are re, una, which is again or long term, and source means or device respectively. In other words, the resource available in nature on which a biological community can depend for a long period and have the capacity to replenish or build are called resources. For example, air received from the nature and the light from the sun will continue to be found for a long period while the vegetation of forests can be produced. Therefore, it is clear that a resource is a substance, property or element found in nature that is capable of meeting human needs. Therefore, resource is a natural and human resource which we use to fulfill our needs. In other words, the progress, development and survival of the human life depend on resources. Every natural resource is useful for human life, but its use is possible only by developing appropriate technologies. Land, water, air, solarium, forests and wildlife existed even before the origin of human life. It is clear that humans developed these resources to meet their needs. In a nutshell, one can say that the elements present on the earth, which are capable of being accepted by humans, are called resources. In the words of E.W. Zimmerman, resource refers to the achievement of an objective. This objective serves personal needs and social goals. Any object or substance found on earth will be called a resource when it has certain objectives. Let's look at them. The object is human utility. It should be possible to transform it into more valuable and useful item, and it should have the ability to fulfill certain objectives. The human resources capable of exploiting these items should also be available, and they should also have the necessary capital for sustainable development in the form of resources. The definition of economic geography has been given by different scholars in different ways. Definitions of some of the leading scholars, let's look at them. According to Bankston and Von Royen, economic geography investigates the diversity in basic resources of the different parts of the world. It tries to evaluate the effect that differences in physical environment have upon the utilization of these resources. It studies differences in economic development in different regions of the countries of the world. It also studies transportation, trade routes, and trade resulting from differential development and as affected by the physical environment. According to G. Chisholm, that is the economic geography, embraces all geographical conditions affecting the production, transport, and exchange of commodities. Its chief use is to enable us to form some reasonable estimate of the future course of commercial development so far as that is governed. According to Professor Shaw, economic geography is concerned with the problems of making a living with world industries, with basic resources and industrial commodities. According to Darkenwald and Professor Johns, economic geography deals with the productive occupations and attempts to explain why certain regions are outstanding in the production and exportation of various articles and why others are significant in the importation and utilization of these things. Now let's look at R.E. Murphy. He has defined the definition of economic geography as economic geography has to do with similarities and differences from place to place in the ways people are making a living. This was quoted in his book An Introduction to Geography. Next, according to Rudolf Virgens, economic geography is a study of the interaction between A. the earth space and its fulfillment, and B. economic man with particular attention to explanation of the distribution of the pertinent consequences of such interaction. Now let's move on to according to Gauls, economic geography makes a scientific investigation of nature of the world areas in their direct influence on the production of the goods. In the words of Huntington, the extent of impact of geographical environment on human business, human efficiency and other aspects of human needs, for example, arts, religion, administration, education and civilization, is studied in the economic geography. Economic geography is the study of the spatial variation on the Earth's surface of activities related to producing, exchanging and consuming goods and services. According to Harshon and Alexander, economic geography is the study of aerial variations on the Earth's surface in man's activities related to producing, exchanging and consuming wealth. According to N.G. Pounds, economic geography is concerned with the distribution of man's productive activities over the surface of the earth. These activities are primary, secondary and tertiary. G.T. Renner, economic geography has taken up the neglected aspects of man's economic affairs and deals in commodities, the places and conditions of their production, transportation. This makes it clear that economic geography is a science related to livelihood modes and their problems, in which the basic resources of the ground and the related human actions are studied. There is a science related to the exploitation of natural resources, in which their production, transport and distribution and consumption are studied. Humans have made the objective fulfillment the basis of development by utilizing the resources available in the nature. Humans have been consuming them since ancient times. Gradually, by rapid exploitation, the need for sustainable or sustainable development was felt, and at present a plan was prepared to classify them for proportionate use. Resources are biological and abiotic depending on origin. Depending on the purpose, resources can be divided into energy, raw materials and food items. Now let's look at the classification of the economy. The classification of resources on various common grounds can be done. Let's look at few of them. Generally, there are two types of resources, natural resources and human resources. What are natural resources? All the substances are the product of natural resources of the earth. Since nature is the mother of these resources, hence they are also called as the natural resources. What are human resources? Human resources are the most important besides natural resources because without human labor, natural resources have no value. Humans change their environment and use the substances found in it for their needs. As a result of this hard work, agriculture commodities are produced somewhere in the world today. Then development of mineral materials and manufacturing industry is possible somewhere else. The use of natural resources found on earth requires human thought, its organization and labor. Natural resources are generally divided into two classes based on the origin. Firstly, the biological resources and secondly the inorganic resources. Biotic or organic or living resources under which natural things derived from trees and animals are included, such as forests, pastures and grasslands, wild animals, fish and other gibs found in the sea. Forests provide humans with a variety of commodities like fruits, betel nuts, herbs, leaves, bark, fibers, gum, resin, rubber, etc., on which industries of the modern era have developed. Where natural grasslands are available, animal husbandry is done on a commercial scale, and sheep, goats, four-footers are reared for milk, meat or wool. Many types of wild animals, lions, leopards, hyena, elephants, etc. are found in the forests and grasslands whose skins, hair, teeth, seed, meat, etc. are used in many works. Fishing in the lakes, ponds and coastal areas provide humans with a food base. The next type was the abiotic or inanimate or non-living resources under which the surface, rocks, air, water, minerals, fuels, metals, building stones, etc. are included. Humans have used them to make things or to obtain power. Air is not only equal to nectar for its survival, but air, power and eyes are also obtained from it. Water is also used for power generation in addition to drinking or agriculture. The situation between these two resources is that of soil, without which neither trees, plants can flourish nor humans get nutritious material. Therefore, their importance in natural resources is also high. According to the purpose-based classification, there are three types of resources. What are they? Energy resources, raw materials and food items. Firstly, what are energy resources? Energy resources include those resources which are used for power tools. For the development of power is derived from many sources. They are divided into living and non-living resources. There are wood in the means of human and animal and inanimate power in the means of living power. Apart from these two classes, a third class has also been considered under which comes coal, mineral oil, natural gas, alcohol, sun energy, tidal power and atomic power. These are called industrial power. It consists of 29% of coal, 39% of mineral oil, 19% of natural gas and 2% of hydropower, atomic and other geological powers. In the present times, energy resources are being considered as the standard of development of any country. Both endowed and untraditional nature resources are found in energy resources. Non-renewable or renewable resources include coal, petroleum and natural gas, forests, hydroelectricity, wind energy, solar energy, geothermal energy, tidal energy, etc. are considered in the category of renewable and non-renewable energy resources. Due to the increasing importance of energy resources, it is very important to develop the basic spirit of sustainable development of their lives. Next, we have the raw material is the mainstay or industrial development, and it can be divided into the following classes, which are minerals. The objects, what are minerals? Minerals are the objects that are dug out of the earth's surface or its womb, which are called as the mineral substances. These include iron, minor and non-ferrous metals, coal, diamond, limestone, gold, silver, mica, sandstone and many other mineral substances. All these minerals are the raw materials of many industries such as iron ore in the iron industry. Next, we have vegetation. Under vegetation, grass. These include wood, fibrous products, tap, rubber, oil, seeds, blisters, caracas, algae, etc. The main and secondary products obtained from natural vegetation or the raw material in various industries. For example, soft pulp is made from soft wood and paper is prepared from the pulp. Next, we have animals. Animals such as cow, ox, buffalo, sheep, goat, camel, yak, etc., are also kept in the raw material category. Milk, hides, samur, horn, wool, silk, and the bones derived from these animals are the raw materials of various industries. The raw material for the milk industry, wool and textile industry, leather industry, silk industry, etc., is obtained from animals only. Next, we have the product material. Under it, as raw material in the fiber like cotton, flax, jute, rubber, oilseed crops, mustard, groundnut, etc., cotton textile industry, tire tube industry, edible oil industries, etc. Since the age of foodstuff, humans have been using various food items for their supply. Generally, foods are derived from three various types of resources, which are vegetation. The majority of the human food is derived from vegetable products. These include condiments, fruits, leaves, mushrooms, etc. And next we have animals. Animals, since the time humans are filling their stomachs with animals, he has adopted, that is, a human has adopted occupations like animal husbandry, poultry, beekeeping, fisheries, etc. And next we have minerals. Salt has a special place in human food, which is obtained from mining and drying of the seawater. The salt is mainly used in food items. Well, these were few of the types of resources. Now next we have another classification based on the sustainability of use. Some resources used by humans are short term and some resources remain forever. Thus, depending on the continuity of usage, we can divide the resources into three classes. Firstly, the renewable resources. This particular class includes all those resources which can be reproduced. These resources can be made useful in the long run by adopting physical, mechanical, chemical technology. Therefore, those resources are inaccessible and their life is sustainable repetition. For example, they can be reproduced when a region of forest is cut. The number of wildlife can also be increased. Other resources of this particular category, they include water, wind, solar energy, soil, agricultural crops, human resources, etc. Next, we have the non-renewable resources. In this particular class, there are resources which are not possible to be replenished once exploited. The quantity is limited and the construction period is also long. These resources are destroyed once used and their reuse is not possible. Coal can be extracted only once from groundwater, whereas its construction takes millions of years. The same category includes petroleum, natural gas, copper, bauxite, uranium, thorium, etc. and resources which are non-renewable. Next, we have the recyclable resources. These are some resources on the earth that can be used again and again. Water resources can be varied in different forms at different times. Similarly, iron can also be used in various forms. Local organization. Economic geography is the major branch of human geography that encompasses all the activities performed by the humans. It is the cream that acts as the unit of economic industry that depends on the focus of that industry, and that leaders of that are determined by the local production industry, which interconnects the human and its functions from the industries and rent clubs. All these industries are interlinked and transported to the central organization, and through the economic activities of the region, an import or export from the local area, which depends on the mutual coordination of the local organization. Different distribution models and economic landscapes of newly introduced physique or physical substances differ because they have different types of interconnection due to the natural, biological and cultural processes like each in agricultural industry, excavation, trade, tertiary work, etc. The world distribution model varies. Their interconnectedness is also different. All these works are found in most quantity in the world, but there is regional differences in their interconnected form. Therefore, on the basis of economic element or element group, agricultural state, industrial region, etc. can be demarcated, as well as regional affiliation. Economic regions can be demarcated on the basis of symmetry. In this way, the economic landscape and typological classification through economic regions and their proper analysis helps. Now let's look at the next topic, which is spatial organization. Spatial functional interaction is a mutually functional interaction between different economic regions of the world. This type of interconnection is necessary for the development of economic regions. In the era of modern specialization and production on a large scale, any economic work affects the whole world and is itself influenced by other economic, socio-political conditions of the world. Therefore, no economic region can remain separate from other states. In fact, incentives for a particular type of production in a particular state and means of producing it can be obtained not only from remote region directly from the same state, and the goods produced can be consumed in the same way. This regional functional interaction is the basis of economic development. Territorial functional interaction is both transverse and perpendicular. That is, there is interaction between different economic regions at the same hierarchy level, and there is a similar relationship between regions at different levels of the state hierarchy. The expression of regional organization of economic system is through such infinite regional functional interaction, although such interrelationships and the functional structural patterns resulting from them are often not in tangible form visible. They are important geographical elements. According to Edward L. Ullman, the study of the world and the regional interactions is the axis of geographical study. The function of regional interaction is regional functional interaction, in which many interconnected sequences of regional functional organization arranged in economic functional hierarchy in different industries is regional structure of the economic landscape, such as interconnection of real important human elements between different regions of the world. This developed functional hierarchy arises from the increasing volume and complexity of the units of economic industry on a large to small scale, as well as the parallel relationships and functional interconnections of central organizations. Now let's look at an example which will explain this concept of regional functional organization. An agricultural farm is a unit of economic industry. The agricultural farm is spread around the farmstead and is related to it. A commodity manufacturing industry, which is a separate unit of economic industry, develops at a central place. Therefore, there is no direct connection between the factory of agricultural farm and the commodity manufacturing industry. But in fact, both are interrelated with a city which is the center of the commodity manufacturing industry, as well as the market and the supply center for agriculture. This process is repeated at every level of hierarchy of central and homogeneous regions, and eventually the world-class economic landscapes become interconnected. But the intensity of interconnecting in such a functional organization varies according to the complexity of the economic system. Initial economic systems do not provide surplus, so no means of transportation and trading centers are required, and as a result, regional functional organizations may be separated only at the lower levels of the territories. On the other hand, the regional functional organization in the industrial trade economic system develops to the world level. Economic geography is a dynamic subject that is constantly developing. The discovery of new countries, the discovery of new resources, and the development of new industrial centers have made economic geography very widespread. Therefore, we can say that economic geography is not a dead but a progressive science. Human has made the use of resources available in nature the purpose of development as the basis of development. Humans have been consuming them since ancient times. Gradually, by rapid exploitation, the need for sustainable or sustainable development was felt, and at present, a plan was prepared to classify them for their proportionate use. Resources are biological and abiotic depending on the origin. Depending on the purpose, resources can be divided into energy, raw materials, and food items. Well, this was our chapter on economy and introduction. Hope you've had a great lesson. Thank you and have a nice day.